Okay, so this is the video that you have been waiting for. The S23 Ultra versus the iPhone 14 Pro. And now on YouTube, you would have seen tons of videos on S23 Ultra versus iPhone 14 Pro. And yes, the S23 Ultra can take 100x photos. Yes, it can also take moon photos. Even we tried it and the results were good. But do we really need that super zoomed photo always? So the question that has to be asked is, for daily practical use, which is the best camera phone? The S23 Ultra or the iPhone 14 Pro? And to answer all these questions, we have been using both the phones for several days now, and we have taken 300 plus photos and videos together with these phones, even staying up one entire night for that one special video. Wait for it. Let's go. And to make things simple for you, I'll be giving out points for each category. First, let's talk about the video quality, because that is where iPhone is always on the lead, and Samsung this year has put in a lot of effort to beat them. Okay, let's get one thing out of the way. Like, yes, technically you can shoot in 8K 30 FPS, which is better than last year where you could only do 24 FPS. But number one, it takes up a lot of storage. Like a 10-second 8K clip takes up about 120 MB, whereas the same 10-second clip in 4K takes up only 65 MB. Half the storage. And number two, in 8K 30 FPS, you cannot switch between the 3x, 10x and the ultra wide angle length. So the point being simply, you will be shooting mostly in 4K 30 FPS. And in this mode, outdoors with proper lighting, both the phone produces some good videos. The iPhone takes a little contrasty video, whereas the Samsung takes slightly boosted videos. But overall, both are good, no complaints here. However, there are two areas where Samsung has really improved. First would be portrait video. Like previously, iPhone always did this portrait video cinematic mode better, but this time, have a look side by side, Samsung has almost caught up with Apple. Like the background blur and face detection is on point. And second is stabilization. Like just see this footage of Manu running. In both the phones, the stabilization is really good. Samsung has truly improved here. Now the biggest challenge for any camera, smartphone or even the most expensive cinema camera is capturing videos in low light. That is the ultimate test, and the iPhone shines the brightest here. Pun intended. So see this video, this was taken at the same time. iPhone's video looks much more clean, almost no noise, but in S23 Ultra there is noise around the hair and his jacket. And also the iPhone has a stable exposure. Like in S23 Ultra, sometimes the exposure goes down and sometimes up. And if I pause the video right at this moment, see the railing behind Manu or even the signboards, they have that natural blur on the iPhone. So yeah, while Samsung has really improved in video quality from last year, there is still room for improvement. So as of now, for better low light video performance, I'll give the point to the iPhone 14 Pro. And while we are on the topic of videos, let's flip the lens now. And even in selfie videos, the story is somewhat similar. The S23 Ultra takes slightly vibrant videos, whereas the iPhone 14 Pro is close to natural. In low light scenarios, the S23 Ultra gets a bit noisy, and you can have an idea of the mic quality. In my opinion, audio wise, both the phones are pretty much the same. So in terms of selfie videos, I'll give the point to iPhone 14 Pro. Okay, first up are portrait shots. See this picture of Manu? Outdoor facing the sun, I would say both the phones take really good pictures. Now I personally prefer iPhone's photo here because the colors are nice. On Samsung, everything seems a bit yellowish. However, in low light, Samsung takes a cleaner shot. Like in this picture, if I zoom in, the iPhone has more noise than Samsung, and we clicked multiple pictures in this scenario. And there's a big reason for this lack of noise. We'll get to that in just a moment. So for portrait photos, I'll give the point to Samsung. And even in selfie photos, the HDR on the iPhone is always a hit or miss. Whereas in Samsung, the skin tone, the HDR, everything looks more eye-pleasing. Same, in a lot of selfies, you will see lens flare in the iPhone photos, whereas in Samsung, there is no lens flare, so points to Samsung. Now, in non-human or landscape shots, I would say both the phones take very similar photos and they are very, very good. Like this photo here, Samsung is a bit vibrant, the iPhone is again close to natural. Same for this shot. The grass looks a bit more green on Samsung than it actually is. Again, same story in this shot. So for landscape photography, both the phones are equally good. I'll give a point to both of them. Now, before we move on to other categories, I noticed a few things with both the phones. Like in S23 Ultra, there is a huge difference in what you see when clicking the photo and the final photo. Like see this screen recording, when clicking the photo, it looks all overexposed. But now it takes some time to process and boom, magic. On the iPhone, you get what you see. Also on the iPhone, by default, it takes HDR videos. So in indoor light, see Manu's skin looks so yellow on the iPhone. So to fix this issue, you will have to turn off HDR in videos. And now Manu's skin tone looks fine. These are not major issues, but still, it's a camera video. Need to point that out. Coming to low light photos or Nightography. See these photos, every low light shot the S23 Ultra 9 out of 10 times takes the more brighter and cleaner shot. Like if I zoom in on Manu's face, see it is brighter and has more details on the S23 Ultra. And Samsung is able to do this because of the 200 megapixel camera and a technique called pixel binning. Okay, let me explain. Consider this one dot to be 1 pixel. So in a camera, there are multiple such dots in rows and columns. Now in pixel binning, the camera considers a group of these dots. For instance, these 8 dots over here to be one single pixel. So now this individual pixel is much bigger in size and can take in more light. So by default, both the phones shoot in 12 megapixel mode and all the pictures I have clicked are in that mode only. Now in iPhone, 4 pixels are joined to form one big pixel, whereas in S23 Ultra, these 16 dots are joined to form one big pixel, and as a result, it takes in more light information, and that has one big advantage: better low light performance. So pictures taken in the dark like this one over here, Samsung has more details and better HDR. Like if I zoom in on any of the signboards here, on the iPhone, there is this glow effect, but on S23 Ultra, it is a clean image. Again, see this picture? This is a good example. In S23 Ultra, the Van Heusen board is properly lit, and also the red banner of Shahid Kapoor. See, it is looking more colorful on S23. On iPhone, it looks dull. So undoubtedly, the 200 megapixel is a big step up for S23 Ultra, and for that, point to Samsung. Coming to zoom, well, of course, the winner is Samsung. While iPhone has a 12 megapixel 3x optical zoom camera, you get a 10 megapixel 3x optical zoom as well as 10 megapixel 10x optical zoom with the S23 Ultra. So in this, the iPhone, the max you can zoom is this photo. And well, even the S23 Ultra can do that, and it can do it much better. See, the flag looks more detailed here. And if you want to go it to crazy 100x level, well, the pictures speak for themselves. Also on the S23 Ultra, you also get some extra camera features. Like you get Pro Photo as well as Pro Video mode. So in case you want to go full nerd and control each and everything with the camera, you can. But my favorite is the Star Trail mode. Now it captures the rotation of the Earth, and have a look at the star trails it creates. Unbelievable. And yes, you do get some extra features in iPhone 2, like the cinematic mode. And you will be like, Pratik, S23 also has portrait video. True, but iPhone has better cinematic mode. Like see here, you can change the focus, blur level even after taking the video. You cannot do that on Samsung. And then you also have these photographic styles. So if you don't like the default iPhone look, you can change it to contrasty, vibrant, warm. But overall, for the zoom capabilities and those cool extra features, point to Samsung. So yeah, those are the final scores. So now to answer your question, which is the best camera phone for practical use? Well, both of these phones are pretty capable phone, and you won't be disappointed in picking either of these. But the 200 megapixel sensor of the new S23 Ultra does make a difference, especially in low light photos. However, when it comes to videos, the iPhone still reigns a bit better, but I'm hopeful with Samsung because they have narrowed down the difference. Like in the past, if iPhone was a 10 in video, Samsung was probably 6. But with the S23 Ultra, I would say they are a 8, in fact even 9. On that note, this is Pratik signing off. See you in the next video. Pew, pew, pew.